Peace family, welcome to MaatSpeaks and welcome to another Maat Wednesdays. I am so happy that you joined me again today as we continue to dive deeper into Maat, the principles of Maat. And today we're going to be actually focusing on the 42 negative confessions of Maat, and we will be comparing that with the 10 commandments. Now, this is not a religious debate or about attacking religion in any way. If you want to hear more of a spirituality versus religion debate, you can go to the spirituality and religion live stream that was posted a few weeks ago, but this is not what it's about. But I will be showing the main difference, the difference between the 42 negative confessions and the 10 commandments. Before we begin, I want to remind you, or if you're new to this channel, what MaatSpeaks is all about. So remember, here at MaatSpeaks, this is a channel aimed to use the principles of Maat to build and construct a code in our families and our communities. We begin by using these principles within ourselves, and then we extend that out to our families and community. And so let's review who Maat is. Kemetic science, the African spiritual system, the Neteru make up the supreme divinity, which we call the Neter. So Maat is the Neteret, or goddess of divine order, truth, balance, and justice. So most of us know Maat as balance. A lot of times we hear balance when we're discussing Maat, because if we achieve the 7 principles of Maat in our daily lives, it will bring balance and order into our lives in order for us to reclaim who we are and make the most of our lives. So the 42 principles or negative confessions of Maat help us to go on our own internal journey. So we identify the areas where we need to improve the most so that we can take action consciously to manifest in the subconscious and conscious world. So before we go any deeper into the 42 negative confessions, let's talk about the 10 commandments. Most of us know the 10 commandments, and if you grew up in an Abrahamic religion, you know the 10 commandments very well. So we know that the 10 commandments were said to be ordained by God, and that Moses went up in Mount Sinai. Again, not here to debate the validity of that. It's more about, if you believe in the character of Moses in the Bible, then you also believe that he grew up in Egypt, also known as Kemet. And if he grew up there and he was there, right, he was there a long time, then you would logically ascertain lived Maat. These are things that most likely were these were written on the walls of the pyramid. So in Kemet, also known as Egypt now, in order to rule, you needed to achieve Maat, and I did speak on that in another video. When you look at the 42 negative confessions and you look at the 10 commandments, they do look very similar. But there is a main difference that I will get into. You can be the judge of whether they look similar to you or not, but there are clear similarities there between the 42 confessions and the 10 commandments. Now, we can talk about which came first, the chicken or the egg. I went over that with the idea that Moses grew up in Kemet. So why we have the 42 negative confessions. So in a previous Maat Wednesdays video, I talk about justice. You put the heart, you have the heart weighed against the feather. And what does that mean? We talked about that this is the judgment of the afterlife. Your judgment or death So your transition, when you are transitioning. So in African spirituality and in some other spiritual practices, death is not the end, right? Death is the end of one journey and you're beginning another. So at the end of the journey, you face your judgment and your heart is weighed on a scale against a feather. This will let you know whether you have to do this life again or if you fulfilled your purpose in this lifetime. So we use those 42 negative confessions to align with the principles that are Ma'at. Now understand, Ma'at has been translated. Ma'at is Ma'at, right? If you meditate on Ma'at, just the word Ma'at, there's a certain vibration that is going to happen within you because it's Ma'at. But we don't know every word. Like, some words are not able to be translated into the English language. So we have, in essence, for lack of a better word, dumbed it down to those 7 principles. So understand, there are many differences, but the main difference is you looking inwardly and applying those things inwardly. So in essence, it is a spiritual difference. So it is said that if you study the 42 negative confessions, that these 42 negative confessions were actually a negative confession that applied to each Netaru. So a lot of times when you look at the different Netaru, you may be able to look at the 42 confessions and actually look at which one may have been applied to each Netaru. Now, also in other conversations, they talk about that these things have been written by scribes, including things in the Bible. So a lot of times when scribes are writing things, it has also personal ramifications to that scribe. So nonetheless, we talk about the 42 negative confessions. It is about going on your inward journey. So what is necessary for you to fulfill your purpose? So in essence, and a lot of times, when we are coming from religion, we end up making something else our religion. So what happens when we start applying these 42 negative confessions? We look at them as laws. We look at them as a religion now. I mean, anything can be a religion, right? People make veganism into a religion. People who are atheists, that becomes a religion, right? Because when you start applying things like their laws, that is in essence you turning something into a religion. So with these 42 negative confessions, they are not meant for you to use this as a religion. It's meant for you to go on your internal journey so that you can fulfill your purpose. So what you deal with is going to be drastically different than what I deal with. So you have the negative confession: I have done no murder, nor bid anyone to slay on my behalf. Now you can compare that to the 10 commandment, thou shalt not kill. So when you are applying these Ma'atic principles to yourself, you are saying, I have not, or I will not. And I talked about that in a previous video. When you rise, you say, I will not. And then when you, at the end of the day, when you're judging your day, you say, I have not. Now, when we talk about that, understand, like, I don't necessarily have an issue with murder, right? Like, I don't plan on going out and murdering anyone or killing anyone. So that particular confession is not necessarily particular to me. Now I can say it, because it can align with me, but maybe more of what I need to say is dealing with my temple. So let's say that I want to start working on treating my body as my temple, which are in lots of different spiritual systems. So maybe something I would say is, I will not overindulge in food today. And at the end of the day, if I did not do that, I can say I have not overindulged. Let's say you want to work on self-love, loving yourself. You can say, I will not speak poorly about myself. And that in the end of the day, you can say, I have not spoken poorly about myself today. So understand, these negative confessions are very personal to you. In essence, the 42 negative confessions that you see, that we talk about, and that we will talk about more in detail and how to apply them to today's society and today's climate. But understand that they should be personal to you. When you see the 10 commandments, those are not necessarily personal to each individual person. They are for the collective, for the community. It's like the laws of the land. You know that in your city, in your country, there are laws that you are supposed to abide by. There are some people who need to have the law of killing as a law of the land, because if they didn't have that law, maybe they would go out killing. There are people who need to understand that a law is thou shalt not steal. So those are the laws for that community, for that group of people. The 42 negative confessions is for you and for yourself. And you know, when it comes to Ma'at, we speak about Ma'at being truth. And truth is an important aspect of Ma'at, because a lot of people say when you hear truth, you'll know it. But understand, that is a perception, right? People say, speak your truth, or I'm speaking my truth. But if you align with lies, lies will sound like truth. Let me say that again. If you align with lies, lies will sound like truth. I just wanted to briefly discuss how the 42 negative confessions are different from the 10 commandments. And the 42 negative confessions are not just for people who are not religious, or people who are following African spirituality. Like what I'm saying here is that you use these particular to you. Maybe you want to pick out 10 confessions that you work on for your daily goals, for your life, for your purpose, for your life purpose. Let's stop treating these 42 negative confessions like they're laws and that like they're rules that we need to abide by, and actually treat them as they are meant to be treated, as personal confessions, affirmations, manifestations that you use in your own personal life to fulfill your purpose. Because what is your purpose, what you align with, must also be in alignment with what is good for yourself, for helping your family, your community, nature, and the universe. Comment below, family. Tell me your thoughts on the 42 negative confessions and the 10 commandments. If it's helping you, the 10 commandments help you fulfill your purpose, then continue to follow the 10 commandments. This is not about taking that away. It's more about adding to your journey and adding something that is going to help our community. Because at the end of the day, that's what MaatSpeaks is all about. It's about creating a code and culture in our communities so that we can grow as a community and as a people. So that is it. I'll see you next time. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Peace, family. See you next time.